everybody. Welcome to SOS. We got an amazing show for you today. We're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, that big collapse on Monday Night Football. Who's the problem child? Who deserves to get the blame? Is it Sirianni? Is it Saquon? Is it Hurts? We'll hear your thoughts. Plus, we're going to be talking about UNLV football. Yes, the Rebels. Coach O-Dog has this team 3-0 and in the top 25, the coaches poll for the first time in program history. It's big time stuff, and we got to hear your thoughts. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Davis. Welcome inside the den at FOX5 Studios. I am here for Sound Off Sports with my main man, James Edward Barrickman the fourth. James, you're looking good. The haircut. Tell me, we both have haircuts right now.
Both fresh, both looking dapper.
But let's transition to Monday Night Football and everything that happened with the Philadelphia Eagles as they faced the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, the Falcons looked horrendous week one as they faced your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
TJ Watt was in the backfield more than Bijan Robinson, frankly. And Kirk Cousins looked crickety, he looked old, and he didn't look like himself until that final drive on Monday Night Football where he tore the Eagles secondary to shreds, frankly. And obviously there's a lot of question marks, a lot of reasons why this team potentially lost this game. And you could go to Saquon Barkley dropping that pass that stopped the clock. You can go to Nick Sirianni and his play calling. I mean, he's not actually the play caller when it comes to which play. That's more.
But he's signing off on these decisions.
Right. He signs off, but Kellen Moore is the guy who's actually scheming up these looks. And then to not go for it on fourth down, to go for the field goal, to not get the field goal and go for the points early in the game. A lot of issues surrounding this team. James, when you were texting me and watching this whole thing unfold, you were checking in on my well-being. It was like a wellness check.
It really was.
Nice, to make sure I
really
wasn't like about to jump off a building. But
I was checking on all my Philly friends, to be fair.
What, in your estimation, because I already know what my feelings are as an Eagles fan, tell me what you feel from an unbiased perspective watching that collapse. Who's to blame for this game?
I think you can't look further than Nick Sirianni. He's the guy that signs off on all these decisions early in the game. You could have taken your three. I'm pretty sure that would have made it a 3-0 lead.
Right.
First quarter. You decide to get aggressive, go for it. You don't convert, whatever. Later in the game, it's third down. Clock's running. You know the Falcons don't have any timeouts. Saquon's been running great. That O-line's been getting push up front all game. I think that a third and three maybe?
Yeah.
It was the third and short, and you decide to go play action, throw the ball, put the ball in the air. Saquon needs to make that catch, but ultimately that ball falls to the ground. Clock stops. You give them 40 extra seconds, a team with no timeouts that needs to go get 6 to tie. This is on Nick Sirianni, and I think when you look back at how last season ended for the Eagles, this is a game that really, the Eagles, it felt like they were in control of for most of the game, right up until they kicked that football back to Kirk Cousins and the boys.
So we asked everybody at home, this Eagles collapse on Monday Night Football, who is at blame for this loss? Who deserves the blame for this loss? Let's hear what our first response had to say, James.
This is Charles Asado on Facebook. He says, if Saquon caught it, it's a done deal.
Yes.
I'm not willing to put blame. I mean, Saquon needs to catch that football, but this is not on Saquon.
But it shouldn't really be on him because it's just not the position the team and his coaches should have put him in. It should have been more like, you could throw that, or Hurts could have kept it and just kind of gained a yard or whatever, and you're just running that clock down. So I think you got to think, listen, as an organization, as a team, we need this win. It's do or die. Like, the most important thing at that time is actually the clock. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just about time. As we head to break, James, let's hear the last thought we have on this topic from one of our great viewers at home.
At Utah_get via X says, Kirk Cousins is to blame, ...
All right, I am so excited to be joined Right Now by Cameron Jabril Thomas. But we all know him as Wiz Khalifa, the great Wiz Khalifa. Let's talk
Yep.
a little bit about, why you love Vegas. You're always here at Dre's, performing there. Tell me a little bit. You tour all over the globe, right? I mean, you even got in trouble in Romania for doing some stuff. Like, you're all over the map. Tell me about Las Vegas and what makes it so exciting. When you see that on your world tour list of cities, what gets you jacked up about Vegas?
I'm super excited to be in Vegas because there's so many people from around the world. People come to Vegas to have the freaking night of their life. And if they're sharing it with me, whether it be on stage or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the vibe is, if I'm there, I just like to be able to make people happy and let them leave with that experience of, they had the time of their life.
And you listen, everybody always talks about, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, the 10,000 hours, becoming a perfectionist. The Beatles, that song 8 days a week. That's because they were making records, performing live for years and years and years. You have a really interesting personal story. You were born in North Dakota, but you grew up kind of as a military brat. You're in Germany, you're in, all over the globe. You're in the UK, and then you finally settle in Pittsburgh with your mom. But you were in the studio, trade in work for recording time since a really early age, even or before your teenage years. So tell me a little bit about, your artistic development and how you got so good at this, because you make it look so easy. And when we
Thank you.
consume it, it's great stuff. But the thing is, you had to be kind of nervous, and early on, it had to be hard finding your voice. Tell me a little bit about that journey as an artist.
It was always just something that I was inspired to do. I never really had an end goal with it. So, just going to the studio and learning and picking up different techniques, that's what made me a better artist and a more skilled artist. And of course, going on the road and performing and doing multiple tours is a lot of practice. But really, it's just a passion. And I still get up and I go to the studio every day. I've been doing this since, like you said, before I was a teenager. And as a, middle-aged adult, I still enjoy
You
it.
still look the same, though.
Thank you. And I guess it keeps me young. But, it's still fun. It's something that I love to do. It's something that I always love to do. It's not driven by the money. I did it before I was getting money for it, and I'm gonna do it, past. I don't think I'm not gonna get paid for it, but it's always, there's more important things. I have kids now, and just showing them routine, discipline, hard work, and I'm able to do the things that I love.
It's amazing how you're cranking out stuff. I mean, even Wiz Owens. I mean, the amount of songs on these albums, these records, the way that you're just cranking stuff out, a lot of the new stuff sounds different to me. Because I want to talk about, Black and Yellow, something new, all that rolling paper stuff we remember from 2010, 2011. That's how we really became familiar with you. But now you have a different vibe a little bit, it sounds like. Tell me a little bit about the trajectory and how you've changed as an artist. Are you purposefully going into the studio because you're a different person, you've evolved, you have kids now, you're looking at the world differently? How does that influence your music and what comes out in the studio?
My influence, the way I make music is based off of whatever the fans are interested in. And while I love to make big music like Black and Yellow, Young, Wild and Free, and things like that, those are more projects for if I'm signed to a label, if I have an album, if I have obligations, if I want to work with different producers worldwide, if I want to agree to all these agreements. And a lot of the music that I'm releasing now is just my personal taste. It's the producers that I've been working with for years, and it's the music that, if you got my mixtapes or if you were a core fan base,
Right.
it's a lot of the stuff that, really inspired those people to become Wiz Khalifa fans and Taylor Gang, as well as worldwide. And throughout the years, I just learned different techniques and different ways to be able to entertain people. So, I kind of save the bigger songs for features or other people's moments. And then with mine, I'm really trying to create a sound and a wave where people know what to expect as soon as they
Right.
get a Wiz Khalifa project.
That's what I love, because you have these anthems, like that. Which is hard to do. It's hard to create those anthems that we know, obviously, with the Black and Yellows, where you got the terrible towel, you just want to be waving it with that kind of stuff. But, the See You Again, We Them Boys, all that kind of stuff, those are the anthems. And now when we see Jim getting fine, Crispy, like all this kind of this new age stuff, it's more vibey. It's a totally different feel. And I like that you have that you're able to transition between both of those sounds.
Yep, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. Now let's talk some sports stuff. So obviously black and yellow. I mean, you're in Pittsburgh growing up. Of course, you're doing all the military brat stuff. When did you first fall in love with sports? I mean, it's just tell me a little bit about sports and what that meant to you being a Pittsburgh guy and then being able to create this anthem for Steelers.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh, having so many teams, we got the hockey team, we got not the basketball team, the baseball team, and the football team. We got college football,
Panthers,
basketball.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really, really like, hometown pride type of city. And during the season, that's when a lot of the people have their best times when they're going to the games, they're going to the bars, they're tailgating, they're all riled up. And that's just the energy that I come from. So when you grow up like that, you kind of just have to enjoy it. And like sports, I played sports in high school, but it was never nothing that I took super serious. But just being from Pittsburgh, you have to excel at some type of sport. Like you can't just not be able to shoot a ball or catch a football or, even going to the games, you have to be able to just enjoy yourself with all different types of people. And that energy always gave me the hometown pride. That's why I wanted to make sure my first single was Black and Yellow, something that represented my city and told people exactly where I was coming from and what our vibe was.
It's a timeless classic. Real quickly, a couple last things. So do you have like a take, for instance, like Russell Wilson, Justin Fields? Do you have a preference on who would be the starting quarterback for the Steelers this
I don't
season?
have a preference because I don't want people taking my words.
Hey, come on, we want to know what Wiz thinks.
I'm supporting Russell, of course, man. I'm riding with Russell, man. Real talk. I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out there. I'm riding with Russell.
Okay, and then I'm last thing because I got to know this. You're writing a song for Paul Skeens. I mean, this guy is nasty, right? I mean, you got to be right. What's the first? You got to come up with something for that, dude.
I got it. All they got to do is send me a check and the words that they want me to use, and I got it.
All right, dude. Tell everybody real quickly, if we come out and we see you, what's it going to be like? What's the experience? One more time for your fans. Just tell us about everything going on with in store and how great that is.
Just come check me out. Anybody who knows me know I'm super cool. I'm laid back. We're going to take some pics. We're going to laugh. I have a lot of people who've seen me before who want to come out and see me again. I have some people who it's their first time. So it's going to be a great experience. If you're a fan, pull up. If you don't even know who I am, still pull up and become a fan.
Hey, Cameron Jabril Thomas, you know him as Wiz Khalifa, the man, dude. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. Congratulations on all your major success. Go check out Wiz Owens, too. New album, great stuff there. We appreciate all this time, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, too. Have a great day.
Welcome back to Sound Off Sports. All right, so we're going to be talking some great stuff right now about our football rebels right now. UNLV football, of course, as we just mentioned, they went to, on Sin City Beat, we mentioned this on most of our programming here at Fox 5, we're talking about this, 1978. That's when the Rebels football team took the leap to Division I. Now they're 3-0 under Coach O-Dog. Barry Odom has this team at 3-0. They just went on the road, went to Kansas City, beat Kansas, and now they're ranked in the top 25 coaches poll for the first time in program history. James, you're the producer of Reb Zone here with Paloma Villacana. The excitement surrounding this team, a lot of good stuff going on. What does it feel like, and how big of a deal is this for this city and for fans of the Rebels?
I think it's so cool because me being a giant college football fan, Las Vegas isn't somewhere you think of as a college football town. And so when you have a program like UNLV, who historically, let's just call it what it is, they've been horrible for pretty much their entire time in the FBS, to see them now have a real head coach and a real vision, and to see all of those things now with all the work they've been putting in starting to come to fruition is amazing.
So with all this excitement, of course, UNLV 3-0, a lot of excitement this season, but let's not just think about this season. Let's look towards the future. UNLV and this marriage with the Mountain West, what is it going to look like in the future? James, give us a response. We asked everybody at home, do we see UNLV following suit and ultimately moving like a lot of these other schools into the Pac-12 from the Mountain West. What's our first response?
This is Steve Kelly on Facebook. He says, UNLV needs to fight to get into the Big Ten. Pac-12 will be the Mountain West 2.0.
Let me just throw out a question out there. What do you think the chance is, James, that we actually did have an offer on the table when all these other schools got that offer for 2026 to go to the Pac-12, but behind the scenes, there's so much good faith and belief that we're trending in such a good direction that perhaps we are going to want to field our offers a little bit more than just taking the first thing given to us? Is there a chance that actually we were given that offer and we're just holding off to see what happens?
I definitely think that's a possibility. When you have a guy like, a guy leading your program like Barry Odom, in a city that has so much NIL potential.
You always talk about this.
I know. It does.
Tell us why again.
You
say this in the back office all the time.
I say it all the time. When we're in the era where we can pay players and we can just funnel money into the athletic program.
What's more Vegas than that?
There's nothing more Vegas than that.
Yeah, I think the overall sentiment from people who really know college football and what they're talking about, I don't think anybody's super jazzed up to get asked to the dance by Pac-12. It's kind of like we should be getting it.
Yeah, it's like, of course, it's the new Mountain West.
So, yeah, I don't think that's a tremendous selling point. Before we go to the break, James, I just want to ask you, you are our resident college football nerd. You know all about college football. What else is the missing point? What is the other thing that everybody at home needs to know just about this and how this shifting landscape is happening in college football?
I think what is most important, when you're a school like UNLV, who, if we're going to be honest, there are 130 some FBS teams. And with the ever-shifting landscape where you have the Big Ten powerhouse and the SEC powerhouse, and those teams that are chomping at the bit, that trying to get into those conferences, it's about not being one of the ones left behind. So when it comes to conference realignment, you need to be proactive instead of reactive. And so, like for a UNLV, for example, and I know that they got guys working on this. We need to get out of the Mountain West sooner rather than later. It's just a matter of, is it going to be the Pac-12 or the Big 12? Point being, take-home message, don't get left behind, UNLV.
All right, there you go. As we head the break, James, let's hear one more response we got from someone at home.
Kevin Ziegler on Facebook says, yes, the Pac-12 holds weight and has more money and better national exposure than the Mountain West. I would like to see UNLV and Nevada both go together. I'd also like to see North Dakota State in the new Pac-12.
All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. Right now, we got a little sink or swim time, James. Listen, interesting stuff. Usually Woj bombs are about something happening with one of the 32 NBA franchises. Today, the Woj bomb was about Woj himself. Imagine a Woj bomb about Woj himself. Adrian Wojnarowski with ESPN, after 7 years with the worldwide leader in sports, is actually leaving news, and he's going to become the general manager of St. Bonaventure men's basketball.
The Bonnies.
It's pretty crazy. He's an alumnus of...
Oh, I didn't realize he went there.
Yes,
okay.
He's an alum, so he went there. It's his alma mater, I believe. And, so it's interesting to see not only what we were talking about in last block and how, NIL is impacting shifting of conferences and schools leaving, going, all that kind of stuff, coming and going to different conferences, but it's also impacting the actual jobs within college athletics. Having an actual general manager role for a college basketball team is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and how cool is this for Woj? I feel like a lot of people in this business, in the sports media business, they get into this business because they couldn't hack it actually on the field.
Right. Or their dream is to be a general manager.
Right.
I remember years ago, John Hollinger, if you remember that name, he was a writer for ESPN, I believe. He was doing a lot of analytical basketball writing. He ended up getting a front office job with the Memphis Grizzlies, which I believe he still holds. So that was something where we saw, okay, journalists, media members who have an interesting scoop or perspective on the sport end up getting front office roles.
And Mayock did it with the Raiders too. So like, I just think, you know, for a guy who's been doing it, you know, in the sports media world at the highest level for so many years, to get in with his alma mater, to be able to help out his alma mater in a new role that actually, where you can actually affect the outcomes for your alma mater on the court, I think is so darn cool for him. Because I feel like a lot of people in our business, that's why they get into this business, is because they can't get those kind of jobs, or they couldn't, you know, they weren't athletes.
It's also just, as we're wrapping up today's show, it's fascinating. I know we always bring up Sydney Sweeney on the show because of you, James, but it's kind of like, listen, when you hire Sydney Sweeney for a movie, you're not just getting her acting prowess, you're also getting all of the followers, the millions of followers that she has on her social accounts into the mix. So now you're baking into the film an audience of people who are potentially interested in this movie just because Sydney Sweeney is in it. So in a lot of ways, St. Bonaventure, a middling kind of program in the Division I landscape for basketball, all of a sudden, Woj is bringing his millions of followers, his celebrity, his star power. All of a sudden, that actually might move the needle from a team that's kind of in obscurity to more of a lower middle end D1 program.
No, I think that's a great point. I talk
so
about
Woj is Sydney Sweeney. That's what I'm saying.
Woj to St. Bonaventure is Sydney Sweeney to your movie. No, I think that's a great point.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're always checking us out at fox5vegas.com and online on our Facebook and Instagram and X pages. We're always asking questions, and we want to know your thoughts on the hottest topics inside the sports world. Until next time, that's James Edward Barrickman IV, Woj and Sydney Sweeney's significant other, and I am Mike Davis. We will see you next time here inside the Den on Sound Off Sports.